welcome to the round 12 review as the Blues get a big win on the road against the Port Adelaide Power. 16 goals 11, 107 to 10 goals 11, 71. A bloody brilliant win. Yeah. Defining win. A win that I don't know if many of us saw coming, to be honest. Maybe some of you did. But I think it feels like a really important one. I'm going to be honest, leading into the week, I got sucked into loser mentality. Felt like it was going to be a little bit too hard. I mean, I've got respect for Port, especially at home. I wasn't so much caught up in the hoodoo of the Adelaide Oval. It was just more around playing against an interstate team, a good interstate team on their home deck. And when you play against these sides on their home deck, they know how to play on their grounds better than most, and kind of got sucked into that. It was a weird feeling for me throughout the week. I just didn't have a read. I think I was maybe subconsciously preparing a little bit for a loss. Just couldn't get into the spirit of the game pre-game. Also, it was a shortened week, so maybe it was a bit of that as well. But once the game rolled around and once we got into it, it was fantastic. A really good memory to have documented, and another important step along this infinite journey that we're on with this club and following it. Game started. I mean, it's always so important to start the game interstate well, and I mean, I think the theme of maybe even the first three quarters was an arm wrestle. It was a back and forth. It was a quality contest, and Port are a pressure and contest side just like us. We're very much we're similar in the way that we go about it. They're a bit more experienced in big games and in finals than what we are, but that didn't matter, did it? Started off pretty well. TDK gets a goal from a very smart kick from Blake Acres. Very smart play, which I want to highlight this play because I thought it set the tone for what we were seeing throughout the game, and themes and issues that will come up afterwards. But Alex Cincotta taps the ball to Patrick Cripps. Now that tap doesn't get a stat, but those are the types of efforts and those are the types of plays that I think we now value more than most things. And that is a sign of a team growing when you have those sorts of plays and players. I mean, Cincotta, if you want to stop for a moment and talk about his role and how important it is and the way he embraces it, it's not a pretty role. It's a defensive role, and I think he has such a humility about him to want to stop the opposition's. It was the best small forward. Now we're looking at the opposition's best midfielder. So thought that was an important passage of play, a little symbolic passage of play. Cripps has the run and carry. Charlie takes a contested mark, kicks a goal, which I thought was important because, Charlie getting going early for us. I mean, anytime Charlie gets going, it just creates magic. But, bit of talk around him not starting games well and, having a third quarter surge, but, really led. And as the game went on, I felt that you just kept seeing everyone had their moments. It wasn't a complete four-quarter performance from every individual. Some of them had complete four-quarter performances, but most of them had their moments. And that is exciting because it was a really well-rounded, team performance. Pressure was up. I was noticing a lot of smothers. Elijah Hollins, I think I noticed 2 or 3 in the first half. A lot of smothers. I thought our pressure game was exactly where we needed it to be. And same with Port. They were impressive. We tie the game just on the quarter time siren. Charlie kicks his second. We're losing the clearance battle relatively, but it's a tied game and it's a long game. It's only one quarter, so you don't want to get too carried away with it. I noticed a few things in the second quarter. I thought I noticed Adam Sard looking like he was back. Just the poise and the cleanliness, and spoke to Andy on the fan cams afterwards. He actually mentioned a few weeks ago that, just wait till Sard gets back in there. And you don't want to, it's tough because you don't want to get sucked into talking about injuries and making excuses. And to be fair, I think we've done a pretty good job as a club and as a supporter base for not using injuries as an excuse. There's obviously a frustration about the injuries happening and, conversations around high performance and all of that, like whatever, that's fine. But I don't think we've actually used injuries as an excuse, which I think is a growth area. But anyway, Saad looked like he was back to his best or just building towards it. TDK took a really impressive contested mark as we were surging forward. That eventuated into the Brodie Kemp goal, which, again, you get a defender, pushing forward, kicking a goal, hitting, hurting the opposition on the scoreboard, and that became a theme. We saw McGovern, Chincotta as well. We saw a few of these things happening. We pushed up the ground. I know that we got caught over the top a little bit. I guess that's the risk you run when you're trying to play your game. But all these little moments started adding up. Harry took an intercept mark in the forward 50, just another layer and another, I guess, part of how important our pressure was. When you're taking intercept marks in your own forward 50, and it wasn't the first one, Akers takes one later on. Good signs. He kicks a goal. I thought Port were impressive in their ability to get out of our pressure. We would apply pressure to that, initial congestion. They would get the first handball out. We would apply pressure there. They were able to get through into the second handball. Then once they got that third handball out, they were out. And that's what makes them a good side. They're able to withstand the pressure, absorb it, and then punch. And they've got, leg speed. They've got explosive guys who run the ground pretty well. I think Butters is one of them. Horne-Francis is definitely one of them. Rosie, when he's playing, is one of them. And they've got a couple. So, it was just a great game, Williams gets that free kick over the top from a clever kick from Fogarty. He misses. I felt the last 6 to 7 minutes, maybe even the last 10. I thought Port Adelaide got the ascendancy in the general play, but I thought we defended well. I thought it was a mixture of us defending well and Port not taking their opportunities to put the scoreboard pressure on us. And we had a few turnovers in that towards the end of that second quarter, which resulted in Port Adelaide goals. I think Newman turned it over with one particular passage of play, and it was just so quick. It was Newman, bang, turnover, Horne-Francis to Georgiades, goal. It was just, we'd worked so hard for our goals, and we get scored off turnover pretty quickly. We get to halftime. We're up by 7, and the irony in the conversation around halftime was that the bulk of our scores in the first half were coming from turnover, and the bulk of Port Adelaide's scores were coming from clearance and from stoppage, which I thought was interesting. Had a little moment at halftime, but I post a photo every game at halftime and just sort of ask thoughts at the half. I don't generally read the comments, particularly when I'm at the game, because there's just a lot going on. But last week I got a few texts saying what's going on in the comments. People are like losing their shit. So I just sort of looked through it. I couldn't believe some of the things I was reading, because I felt the pressure was there. I was seeing, there's no pressure. Pressure's non-existent. We're shit. Like, just some of the things I was reading. Whatever. Hit the battle. We're emotional supporters. As that siren goes, you're feeling it. But I didn't have the same read as what I was reading, if that makes sense, on the game. I thought our pressure was there. Just thought it was a great contest. Two teams that didn't allow the opposition to break away. And it sort of showed at the half with the score. The tackle count was looking a lot better for us. 36 at the half, 10 tackles inside 50. I thought Cripps was pretty well held in the first half. And so I knew we had upside. I felt that we had upside to win the game. I didn't probably start believing we could win it until a little later. I just thought, let's just see how it all plays out. Speaking to a good friend of mine, Jimmy, who was at the game, and he sort of said he was feeling like we were about to break through. Maybe it was the premiership quarter it was going to happen. We get there, a series of a couple of unfortunate events, I would say, in the third. Quite a few misses. So always misses that shot early. I felt like we weren't capitalizing on our dominance of play, particularly early in the third quarter. Horne-Francis kicks a goal. I thought that stung, but still, it was a cracking game of footy at that point. There was a clever play. Fogarty taps it over to Williams. He misses. We get a nice mark to Elijah Hollins from a Harry Mackay kick. I thought it was a really important shot in the context of the game. He missed. Then Charlie takes a one-handed mark, brilliant mark. I thought, all right, well, we've got another opportunity here. He misses. Then Zach Williams kicks to Charlie Curnow. He kicks the important one. I thought it was a crucial one because there were so many passages of play that were in our favour. And because of the way the game was unfolding, I felt like it would be a game of who capitalises on their 6 or 7 minute period of dominance with the momentum swing. So that was an important one. Port just kept looking more and more dangerous in transition. They were whipping the ball, from defense to offense really well, and you gotta give credit to them. Then everyone has their moments. Everyone has their moments where they lose it with the umpires. I think it builds up. I think overall, the adjudication of the holding the ball rule, whatever. I think what happened last night was that it forced the offensive player to get rid of the ball a bit quicker. The whistle was blown a little bit more quicker, and it kind of sped the game up a little bit, which was good. I thought the non-mark to Harry Mackay was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. That got me out of my seat. But whatever, I thought we held them off pretty well. Get to three-quarter time, that's when I believed. I wanted to see what it looked like at three-quarter time if we were in reaching distance. At that point, I didn't feel like the game had blown out either way. I was a bit concerned that we dominated the third quarter but didn't get much for it on the scoreboard. And I was mindful of what was going to happen if Port Adelaide got on the run in the fourth quarter. Home ground advantage, the crowd gets into it, those sorts of things. But, mate, then one of the better quarters of the year unfolds. And the timing of it was perfect. All the elements. Patrick Cripps kicks an early goal. It was massive. Then he kicks another one following up. 2 in a row. Symbolic. Your captain, quiet in the first half by his own standards, but I think he was playing a very selfless role. On the stat sheet, it might have looked quiet, but once you review it, I think we'll see what he was doing around stoppage to, get his teammates involved. And then it's funny how you get rewarded in this game. If you're willing to do the selfless things, you get rewarded. So I think Cripps gets a reward there. McEntee kicks a goal the other way around. But the important part of what we saw in this game was anytime Port Adelaide got a goal, got a bit of a run on, we didn't allow it to spread and become 3, 4, 5 in a row. And this is where we've come from. We've gone from the 5-goal swing team when we let teams get on a run. And we were able to just respond. Williams with a clean pickup. He kicks a goal. Then another important goal. Alex Chincotta gets, talk about reward for being selfless. Really important goal. Momentum's with us. Then at that point, I'm thinking, all right, these are important moments that have happened for us to win the game. Finlayson kicks a brilliant goal. What is it with teams just kicking goal of the year contenders against the flow? What is that? Whatever. Then where I exploded, so I was pretty pissed off at the Harry Mackay non-mark. Then Walsh gets pinned holding the ball. And what are we doing? I don't have patience for that particular passage because it was made really clear if a player doesn't get, a player will still get prior opportunity. It just burns when those moments happen. And at the time, you don't know if you're going to win the game. So I got a little bit worried that passages of play like that would hurt us because we weren't getting them earlier in the game. But it didn't matter because McGovern kicks a goal straight after that, which there you go, another defender kicking a goal. Todd Marshall kicks a goal. Francis Evans hits the post. They start really coming at us, Port Adelaide, and then we start to just pull away. We get another intercept mark to Blake Acres in our forward 50. He goes back, slots it. Elijah, beautiful kick to Harry. He misses that one, unfortunately. Then Williams takes a mark, kicks a goal. Harry kicks one there. Then he got going. He had his patch, and it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. It was a big win. It was an important win along the journey, and yeah, I think just to see them go on the road and do it. And we're a team that we're on the rise. We're not there yet. We've got a few of our key players back, I think, structurally on both ends of the ground. I mean, Fogarty, what he does on that end, and Sard, what he does on the other end, it just looks better. We got McGovern back a few weeks ago, and we're going to get a few more back. And then all of a sudden, we're sitting at 8-4. We're looking okay. We're doing okay. We've gotten through half of the season, which is wild. It is flying by. We ran the game out really well, considering the 5-day break, which I thought was going to be a lot more of a factor than what it actually was. So, it was a good win. And we set ourselves up. The first half of the year, I think it's been a tick. I think there've been moments where, we've faltered a little bit, but overall, it's been a net positive. We've seen some new things happen, particularly over the last few weeks with role changes, which I think in a really weird and twisted and dark way, you only get that when you are injured because it forces you to look at different options. So all of a sudden you're looking at Williams as a forward option. What he does at ground level is exactly what we've been missing, let's be honest. What we get from Cincotta moving up the ground and playing like a tagger role, I think is an important factor for us. How long we use that, I don't know. But what I really enjoy is the trust in the guys down back, and we're not dropping these boys. Cowan, Boyd, Kemp. Usually when they're all fit and available, we're squeezing one of them out. I really enjoy the fact that we're getting games into all of them and we've trusted them. I mean, they've developed, we trust them, and it's created more roles further up the ground, and it's given us a point of difference because we're, you got to find something new from the year before, otherwise you get found out. That's how quick the league moves. So, yeah, I'm stoked with that. My player of the game, it was really difficult. Tom De Koning, I think I'm going to give it to Tommy. I thought he was brilliant. He's got such a presence about him right now. I thought his work rate was awesome. He had a really good battle with Soldo. Gave it to Tom De Koning, and then doing a bit. I mean, I'm just going to go to Alex Cincotta. He embodies what doing a bit is all about. He may the stats may not be electric, and I know that as footy fans we get when the game passes and we look in retrospect, the first thing we look at is stats. So from a statistical point of view, it doesn't look fantastic, but what he did last night to make it super tough for Zach Butters, who is, let's be honest, he's a star of the comp. It's just great, and I love that he's found his place in the side in 2024. He found it last year when Zach Williams was injured, and we discovered Cincotta, and he found a spot in the side and kept it in the side. And then, the determination for him to, find a role. And you can just tell, I mean, he embodies a little bit about the team as well. Like, there's a belief. We as the fans, we can sometimes falter in that. I think the Sydney game probably dented a bit of our confidence. And you can sometimes ask questions about, how they're feeling internally, but no, they've got belief in themselves that no matter what, they're always a chance, and that's an important step that the club, the team, and everyone involved has taken. These are the type of games we didn't come close to winning, only a couple of seasons ago. The last time we played Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval was 2021, the last round of the year, where we had 19 straight kicked on us, and we had the ascendancy in that game. But yeah, we're rolling, it's changing, we're building. There's still a lot of upside. There's still things that we can clean up with our forward entries, clearly. But all in all, a good performance. And, touch wood, I think the big positive, aside from the win, and the good win, is no injuries. A healthy exit from the game. That's important because we need stability with this group. We're getting a few of them back, a few more soldiers to return, some more pressure on spots. And the pressure creates diamonds. So that is how I saw it. I am wrapped. I haven't watched the replay yet. I've had 2.5 hours sleep. But I did take a moment last night during the fan cams. I always make a point as much as possible just to reflect on where we've come from, because finally, you know, these are the types of games and these are the types of moments and these are the types of wins that, you know, we were begging for, we were screaming for it. You know, when is it going to happen? When is it going to end? When are the bad times going to be over? And when is the team going to start, you know, pushing through and winning these types of games, beating top 4, top 8 top sides, you know, at home, away. So, hello, it's here. The times that we have been waiting for have arrived. We're a quality outfit. Still got upside. Still got a lot more improvement. But I think we're in the mix. I really do believe we're in the mix with the better sides in the comp, whether that's the top 4, the top 6. I firmly believe we are still well and truly far away from our best footy. But that game that we just watched in round 12, 2024, that is as close as I've seen us in the terms of putting together a 4-quarter performance and just staying engaged for 4 quarters and not letting the inevitable momentum swings that you're going to get against you, just an ability to mitigate them as much as possible. And that's going to happen. So it was a great job. And, you know, it's interesting, for all the talk about putting the foot on the throat, well, there it is, away from home against an Adelaide side at the Adelaide Oval. Shout out to the fans. The woof was super loud on TV. Well, we have such good representation interstate. It's every state. I probably didn't realise how loud the Adelaide Carlton faithful were. And when you think about it, they haven't had many games to get vocal about, because we've been smashed when we play against the Adelaide sides at Adelaide Oval. And usually it's done early. So I thought there was a breakthrough in that. Now that I'm actually thinking of it, I'm glad I remembered it while doing the review, that they were super loud. So those of you who were there, you could feel the release of tension and frustration from not being able to watch the Blues win at the Adelaide Oval. And it came through the TV. And so kudos to you guys. And it's feel good at the moment. Now we get a 10-day break. And then it's war, like the war zone. We're on. We're on. We owe Essendon a lot. We're ready for it. I've been looking at it for the last month, if I'm honest, but just, the time will come. We go from there. What about you? I've got to know. How did you watch that game? I'm really curious from your point of view. Leave a comment below. Like, during the game, did you feel like we were just chipping away and there would be a breakaway? Did you feel like it was just going to be tight for the entirety of the game? Did you feel like we were going to slip? And when was the moment that you believed, like, wow, we're actually going to win the game? I'm really curious to read through your documentation of the contest and, whatever else is on your mind, themes and issues that have come out from round 12. So leave a comment. We'll chat about it there, and then we'll enjoy the win, enjoy the replay. I might watch that one a few times over the weekend. So love you guys. Thanks again for all of you on the fan cams last night. Just honestly, it's the best. Like I am very grateful. I have the best job. It's not even work. I mean, it is work, but it's not. It's just the best experience. And to finally be here and soaking up those moments and those wins. Yeah. So whoever's watching this down the track in a generation after, maybe when I'm no longer around, and in 50 to 100 years from now, just know that when we finally beat an Adelaide team at the Adelaide Oval, it was really special, like super special. So make sure you review this one if you're a historian watching really closely. That'll do it. Take care. Go Blues.